Hello, everyone. I'm always amazed at how the Holy Spirit leads me to a video topic. I picked up my Bible and was led to the story of Nehemiah, which I hadn't read in a while. Those several things immediately caught my eye, like the value of prayer, the qualities of leadership, and devotion to God. The biggest thing I saw was how the people in the mid-5th century were no different than most people in 2025. That was an eye-opening surprise to me. Let's learn more today about Nehemiah and the people of Jerusalem in 444 BC. Nehemiah was a member of the Persian court, but his heart was in Jerusalem. While in Susa, a man from Judah visited, and Nehemiah inquired about life among the Jews in Jerusalem, who survived the exile. And Nehemiah was told that the people there are, quote, in great trouble and disgrace, because the wall surrounding and protecting the city is down, and the gates are burned. Nehemiah tells us this in chapter 1, verse 4, quote, "When I heard these things, I sat down and wept. For some days I mourned and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven," end quote. Then Nehemiah asked God and the king to allow him to go to Jerusalem, and permission was granted. Upon arrival, Nehemiah first inspected all the damage and then said to the people, "Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace." The work began, and Nehemiah said to them, "The God of heaven will give us success." Success is exactly what they got. To the amazement of all, the wall was completed in just 52 days, even though there was great opposition to the project. A plot to kill the workers unfolded, but Nehemiah heard about it and promised the workers God would protect them, and he did. At the completion of the wall, those opposed, quote, lost their self-confidence because they realized that this work had been done with the help of our God, end quote. With the wall built, Nehemiah realized there was not enough houses for the residents, so he arranged to have them built, and then gathered the people together to hear the law of Moses read to them by Ezra the scribe, from daybreak to noon every day, until all of the laws were read. The people confessed their sin and made a binding agreement to serve the Lord. Nehemiah told the people they must cancel debts, properly observe the Sabbath, divorce wives who were non-Jews, give their tithes, not neglect the house of God, and live by the covenant. Nehemiah not only oversaw the building of the wall, but he brought the people back to God. With this, he had completed the job God laid on his heart to do and returned to the king's court in Persia. Years later, Nehemiah returned to Jerusalem and found that the people had gone right back to their sinful ways. The priest had turned the room set aside for storage of tithes and grains into a place for his friend to live. And portions set aside for the Levites had not been given to them, so the Levites and singers had gone back to their own fields. Plus, the Jews were bringing wine, grapes, figs, and other things into the city to sell on the Sabbath. Nehemiah warned them that they were, quote, stirring up more wrath against Israel by desecrating the Sabbath, end quote. The selling stopped. People were again marrying non-Jews. Once again, Nehemiah had to stand up for God and straighten out the people of Jerusalem. As I read the book of Nehemiah, I thought to myself, this sure sounds like America today. How many Christians are actually giving a tithe to God? How many are truly honoring the Sabbath? How many are living the way God would have them live? How many churches are conducting their services according to God's rules? How many are praying as Nehemiah did for God's favor and works of service? We are really no different than the people alive in Jerusalem in 444 BC. What else can we learn from this book? We can learn to live a life for God, like Nehemiah lived. He saw a need. It bothered him greatly, which is often how the Holy Spirit gets our attention. He diligently prayed about the need, and God answered him, allowing him to go to Jerusalem to meet the need God had placed on his heart. Then Nehemiah created a plan to rebuild the wall and the gates, and he assigned people to do that. There was a sense of teamwork, which is always good, but there was also serious opposition. Isn't there always opposition to the plans of others, even when they're good plans? Nehemiah could have given up, which is what the opposition always wants people to do. But instead, he prayed. God sent a plan, and the opposition ended. When God is in a plan, it will happen as long as we trust. People just need faith and commitment to stay focused on the job they were sent to do. God displays his strength when men are weak. He sent a strong man of faith and a dedicated leader to do a job that needed to be done. One who would rally the troops to also believe and do the right thing. What's God calling you to do? What's bothering you in your family, church, or community? Are you praying about it? Are you remembering that, quote, all things work together for good to those who love God, end quote? Or are you afraid? Afraid you won't be successful, afraid to offend someone, afraid of opposition. If the plan is God's and he puts you in charge, it will succeed. Consider these words of Nehemiah in verse 14 of chapter 4, quote, don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fight for your brother, your sons and daughters, your wives, and your homes, end quote. Are you and I doing that? Let's go for it. But let's go with God. See you Thursday.